It is our second major news bulletin for the day. This is Flow 94.9 FM News at Noon. My name is Michael. Only the headlines. Kaduna State Governor urges President Buhari to deal with over-ambitious APC members. International Labour Organization decries high rate of child labor in Nigeria. UTME candidates in Abia State express frustration over delay in release of JAMB results. And on the foreign scene, Liberian president suspends minister for fueling ethnic tensions. The details shortly. And now the news in full. Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, is blaming the internal crisis in the All Progressives Congress and the build-up to the 2019 general elections on the desperation of some members who are positioning themselves ahead of the 2023 presidential election. Speaking in Ikoyi during an interactive session with members of the Bridge Club, El-Rufai argued that it was wrong for the APC members to be scheming ahead of the 2023 when President Muhammadu Buhari's second term had not even taken off. He said Buhari must be firm and deal decisively with those ambitious members who might take his second term in office difficult for him. Minister of Defense Mansur Don Ali is of the view that lack of military-industrial complex has been detrimental to the national security management. Speaking at the National Defense College in Abuja, the minister also decried the poor funding of the sector, which he described as capital intensive.
One critical problem facing the Ministry of Defense is inadequate funding. As a result, the overhead requirements of the ministry are hardly met. The recent intervention by Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, in approving funds for procurement of critical equipment in the armed forces is expected to assist improving the capacity of our military.
On his part, Commandant, National Defense College, Maxon Kadiri, stated that the military needs continuous innovation to meet emerging security challenges.
In a global world where the security environment is ever-changing and presenting new dynamics, threats are mutating, and responses to them have to equally be evolving. There will be no one shoe that will fit all.
Meanwhile, Chief of Air Force Sadiq Abubakar says the force will not compromise the territorial integrity of Nigeria, even in the face of threatening insecurity across the country. Speaking in Kaduna, Abubakar maintains that security agencies are working together to surmount security challenges facing the nation.
The Nigerian Air Force for some time now has been involved in various internal security operations in the country. We are committed, therefore, as a service to ensuring that the menace of terrorism, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and armed banditry are addressed decisively.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike is threatening to dethrone traditional rulers of communities where cultism and kidnapping were encouraged. The governor also cautioned that communities with the prevalence of cultism, kidnapping, and other forms of crime would no longer enjoy the patronage of the state government. Wike issued this warning while addressing a special security meeting at the government house in Port Harcourt. It would soon be an offense to withdraw above 500,000 naira per day from any local government account and without valid checks or electronic funds transfer. The Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit gave this indication in a new guideline, which also restrains commercial banks from allowing transactions from any local government account without monies first reaching the account. The agency, in an emailed statement by its acting chief media analyst, Ahmed Diko, directed all financial institutions, relevant stakeholders, public servants, and the public to ensure full compliance with the provisions of the guidelines which had been submitted to financial institutions and relevant enforcement agencies. And in the education sector, the current ranking, which places Nigerian universities below 800th position in the World Universities Order, is a source of worry to some stakeholders in the education sector. Chairman of the Federal Government Renegotiation Committee with the Academic Staff Unions of University, Wale Babalaki, believes Nigerian universities should be among the top 100 in the next 5 years if stakeholders embrace re-engineering for excellence. Speaking at the University of Ilorin's third annual registry lecture, Babalakin said his committee had realized that for Nigeria to position itself as a leading nation, it must improve its educational system. International Labour Organization is condemning high rate of child labor in Nigeria with a promise to set up a program to eliminate it. Country representative, International Labour Organization, Dennis Zulu, explained that the program became imperative as a result of high incidence of child labor, especially in mining and agricultural sector across Nigeria.
Children in Nigeria engage in the worst forms of child labor, including work in quarry, granite extraction, commercial sexual exploitation, and armed conflict. I'm certain you can relate to this, and I'm sure as people who are involved in this area, you very much appreciate the fact that there's still quite a lot of work to be done in this case, because still our children are working, and in most cases, in the worst forms.
Director General, Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, Timothy Nawale, also frowned at the trend.
Having identified informal sector as the major area where there is actually the need for us to intensify effort and ensure that national legislations and international conventions with regards to elimination of child labor is enforced down the line there, we are very keen to discuss and engage on the likely way out.
And back home in Abia State, the state government is insisting that workers' welfare remains a priority to Governor Okezie Ikpeazu-led administration. Commissioner for Finance Obinna Oriakụ, who gave this assurance while speaking on Flow FM's interactive program Abia Today, blamed the delay in salary payment on shortfall in revenue from statutory allocations.
We still prioritize workers' welfare and payment. That is why consistently for the past 47 months, there is no month we come back, we didn't pay. You can only accuse us that it didn't go around. And the reasons are obvious. You come back with 3.4 billion as the case may be, and your total wage bill is about 2.8 billion. You are left with partly 700 million to run government and to run overhead. It's not possible.
The commissioner also disclosed measures taken to overcome challenges with pension payments.
We centralized the 19 sub-treasuries into one basket so that at the touch of a button, everybody gets paid. Now, what is the disadvantage of this process, which has brought us to where we are, is that when somebody drops dead, you won't know. So that is why people and states that run this kind of automated payment of pension, periodically they engage in verification. But of course, when we wanted to do it the last time, it was a bit resisted because we have our standards with the pensioners. No problem. We are going to work very hard and pay them 2 months, at least to enable them see money to come out and then for the verification.
Some candidates who took part in the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination in Abia State are expressing frustration at the delay by Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, in releasing their results. Some of the candidates who spoke to Flow FM News urged the board to punish those found guilty of examination malpractice, but not at the expense of others who worked hard for the examination.
When I wrote my exams in Omahia, we had no problems at my center. But since JAMB said that a lot of people or persons were arrested because of exam malpractice, they should go ahead and punish them for what they did, it is by withholding their results. And not everybody that took the exams.
I am really worried because I want to know my fate, whether I will get admission or not. Some of us have written JAMB many times.
JAMB said it has begun the biometric verification of 1.8 candidates who sat for this year's Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Federal Road Safety Commission, Abia State Command, is set to commence a recertification inspection of all driving schools across the state. The sector commander, Meshach Jato, who dropped the hint in an interview with Flow FM News, said driving schools without a minimum requirement will be delisted and decertified.
We have a website where all certified driving schools are listed. Now, before you can get a driver's license, the certificate you're bringing from must be from one of those driving schools that is listed in our website. Before a driving school is certified by FRSC, there are criteria. One of it is the electronic simulator for practical driving. You need trained instructors. You need a library. You need a driving range.
Flow News at noon continues shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Do stay tuned.
FM.
Thank you for staying tuned. And now straight to business. Federal government has extended by 3 months the 50% discount it offered to operators of micro, small and medium enterprises to register their company names. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who announced this during the first quarter MSME's stakeholders meeting in Abuja, explained that the government's action was informed by the success so far recorded and the 50% discount window. He challenged the stakeholders to rack their brains and come up with suggestions on how best to finance small business outlets in the country. And outside the shores of Nigeria, Liberian President George Weah has suspended his junior press minister for stoking ethnic tensions in the country, which was ravaged by tribalism and 2 civil wars which killed some 250,000 people. Weah suspended Eugene Fagion over comment that a call for a big anti-government demonstration on the 7th of June was engineered by the so-called Congo Liberians, or descendants of freed slaves who returned from the United States of Found Africa's first independent republic. Weah stressed that his government is committed to a one country, one people policy with zero tolerance on divisive politicking and tribalism. And in sports, Nigerian winger Samuel Chukwueze has been named the 12th most valuable player under the age of 20 in Europe's top 5 leagues. The Villarreal winger Samuel Chukwueze, who is the target for several English Premier League clubs, is valued at £30,000 by the Comparative and International Education Society Football Observatory. The 19-year-old Nigeria international has made 46 appearances for Villarreal across all competitions and has scored 10 goals, making 4 assists. Well, that sports news wraps it this afternoon on Flow News at noon. To end the news, a recap of our major stories. Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, is blaming the internal crisis in the All Progressives Congress in the build-up to the 2019 general elections on the desperation of some members who are positioning themselves ahead of the 2023 presidential election. International Labour Organization is condemning high rate of child labor in Nigeria. Some candidates who took part in the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) in Abia State are expressing frustration at the delay by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB) in releasing their results. And on the foreign scene, we told you that Liberian President George Weah has suspended his junior press minister for stoking ethnic tensions in the country. Thanks for being with us. Remember that security is everyone's business. Provide useful information to security agencies to ensure your security. Join us at 6:45 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. every weekday for additional newscast. This is Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. You can send your views or information to flowfmnews@gmail.com or visit www.flownews.com.ng for more stories. This bulletin was edited by Precious Chima, supervising editor Samson Eze.